It started when I returned home from work that fateful Friday night. Me, tired from work, drained of energy from meeting assholes I had to be polite to, and teetering on the edge all day. And all this before returning home to his loving wife. Yes, that was sarcasm at its best. Bob, we need to talk. It's unlikely that anything good ever came out of those 5 words. For starters, I was once the proud owner of the name Bob, which was also the first word of those 5. The person who spoke these 5 words to me was my wife Alice. It all started as soon as I entered the house. Overall, quite worrying. Of course, I said. What are we talking about? Could you sit down? When you're ready, she said, pointing to a chair at the kitchen table. I did the usual things you do when you get home. Take off your coat, hang it up, take off your shoes, put on your slippers, wash your hands, etc. When I was ready, I sat down as she asked. Silence. Well, I thought. Well, what are we talking about? I asked. A little more silence. Slight anxiety, slight eye movements, as if she wanted to say something, but didn't know how. I'm all ears, Alice. What's the matter? Even more silence. Bob, I don't know how to say this. Well. Alice, you're starting to scare me. Did something happen? Silence and indecisiveness on her part. Maybe it wasn't what I was sure of. Health problems, perhaps? Crap. What's going on? Is this related to your tests? Tell me already. Oh, no, God, no, it's not the tests. They're fine, I have nothing. No, really, Bob, I'm fine. I mean, with my health, it's okay. Really. Is everything okay? Is nothing wrong? Oh, God, no, it's fine. Really, don't worry, everything's fine. Really, no. Then what is wrong on earth, Alice? I'm seriously worried. Go ahead, speak up, I said. I started to feel this nasty feeling. It's time. Here it is. More indecisiveness on her part. She lowered her eyes. I started to really hate the way this was unfolding. Even though I was well prepared, I began to feel real fear and anxiety. Focus, dude. Don't forget your preparation. Bob, I really don't know how to say this. What, Alice? Speak? Oscillations. Still looking down. Bob, I'm unhappy. Deafening silence. What? She looked into my eyes. No hesitation this time. Right in the eyes. I am not happy. What? What do you mean? I said, starting to feel the fear become real. I knew this would happen, but I still felt like all my preparation was in vain. Focus, idiot. Did I do something? Did I treat you badly? I blurted out, my voice almost shaking. Oh, God, no, Bob, no, it's not something you did. Or, something you didn't do, she rushed to answer. She lowered her eyes again. You didn't do anything. It's not about you, she continued hesitantly. It's about me. I'm just unhappy. But I don't understand. What in your life makes you unhappy? Did I neglect you? Or put pressure on you? Or... God, no, Bob, no. I already told you, it's not you. It's me. I'm unhappy. It's not you that doesn't make me happy. It's just, I'm unhappy. I'm just not. Alice, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. What in your life makes you unhappy? More hesitation, eyes down. Oh. If someone called it the surprise of the century, it would be an understatement. Even my training didn't prepare me for this. All? She nodded. Alice, I don't understand. I don't understand. We have a great life, at least I think so. We have 2 children in college. We have a nice house. We don't owe anyone a penny. We have a vacation every year. Everything is fine at work. Your work with charities is in full swing. I just don't understand. What's missing? You wouldn't understand, she muttered, still looking down. This was the trigger for me to prepare to go on the offensive. Well, you're right, Alice. If you don't explain it to me in simple words, how am I supposed to understand? I said in despair. Silence. Now that I think about it, I should be the one who is fully qualified to be unhappy in our marriage. But I can't understand why you wouldn't be happy in it, I said. What? Alice asked in surprise and angrily. Yes, Alice, I have reasons to be unhappy, and you know them because I have said this more than once. If anything, I am someone who has been systematically rejected over the 2 decades that we have been together, on every level, in fact. Oh God, Bob, you're not going to start complaining about love and sex again, are you? Oh, please, no, not this time, she said in mock despair. Well, this may seem tiresome to you, but this is what really hurts me and has hurt me all these years. It may seem like whining to you, but to me, it's real pain. It's a real rejection, at least from my point of view. Vision. You turn what should be associated with love and joy, the actual celebration of love between a man and a woman, into the most tedious thing in the world, work. That's not true, Bob. How can you say that? She interjected with a smug look. Are you saying you didn't enjoy being with me? On the contrary, Alice, I'm saying that you probably didn't enjoy intimacy with me, and that's probably the reason you cut me off, I objected. It's all clear now. You must have been unhappy for quite a long time to treat me like that. I felt rejected for 20 years, except for the period from the time we met until the wedding, and that's probably because. Because what, Bob? She screamed. The way things were unfolding, I could tell she was starting to get annoyed by the second. Because I had no intention of marrying you, Alice, that's why. Explosive silence. If her looks could kill, I would already be dead. But she's not from Krypton, so I stayed alive to continue. It was you who wanted to marry me. I was going to marry Helen. But I ruined everything, didn't I? Royally, because I cheated on her with you. Don't you remember that? What the hell? Is it my fault that you cheated on Helen? She screamed. And in all this, what? Do you regret marrying me? You got a bad deal, me instead? So I became your victim? Oh, poor little Bobby, she exclaimed, raising her hands in the air. Do you understand how humiliating this is for me? And for you too? You poor little victim of my spell? God. Well, you definitely made her your victim, and to be honest, so did I, in the worst possible way. I cheated on her with you, not with anyone else. With you. I want to marry you so desperately, and I will stop at nothing to achieve this. You told me, have you already forgotten? Silence. No, it was true, she said. But you wanted me as much as I wanted you. If you didn't want me, you could very well have done nothing with me. You weren't a child. You were a grown man. You can't take responsibility for your actions, which supposedly came straight from your heart, as you said, and you throw them in my face now, 20 years later, Bob. Incredibly pathetic. Of course, you're right, Alice. We both know that I can't blame you for my actions. It was your actions that took my ego and sent it sky high. But most importantly, they clouded my judgment to the point where I completely fell into your embrace. You charmed me to the point that I left my future bride and married you instead. Oh, so now I'm the devil's siren. Bob, if you keep this up, I'll throw up, I swear, she said. This is a new level of low for you. I can't believe it. Oh, I know, that really sounds so pathetic that I want to slap myself in the face just for saying that. I agree with you. Like it's your fault that I cheated on Helen, even if it was with you well. To be honest, actually, yes, it really was partly your fault. If we're being honest, you were the one who was targeted. Betrothed a man who was preparing to marry another woman, a good woman, by the way, no, make it a woman made of pure gold, and stole it. If we're being honest, that act alone makes you an unethical piece of trash, stealing men from other women. No sweet talk, it's all you. What you said? She exclaimed. She looked at me with her mouth open and eyes wide. She just couldn't believe I said it, I could tell. So I continued. You heard me. However, in fairness, the man involved, in this case me, could have sent you away. I didn't, so I'm 1,000 times worse than you. Cheater, nothing. Fucking zero with a hole in the middle, the size of the damn universe. This moment is definitely not yours. I was not strong enough to resist you. But I was so fascinated, hypnotized by the whole thing with you, that I called off my wedding with Helen and married you. In an instant, and you know how she took it, right? She was devastated, broken into pieces. And you know I couldn't forgive myself for years because of all this. Damn, she forgave me much faster than I did. Forgive yourself. And do you know what she said? I left a little silence for emphasis. She didn't take the chance to say anything, so I continued. After what I did to her, which was betrayal at its worst, destroying her dream of living with the man she loved and chose as her life partner, unworthy of me, who turned out to be unworthy of even a spit, she said I deserve better than you. Not that she deserves immeasurably better than me, the traitorous son of a bitch that I really was to her, but that I deserve better than you. Can you believe it? Right through you. She realized that what you presented was a facade that no real woman could compete with. She saw right through me? A facade. What? Wait, let me understand. So, besides being a siren straight from the fiery pits of hell, enchanting you, an unethical piece of trash, stealing men, seducing the innocent and pure you from the golden goddess Helen, who, by the way, always scolded you at every opportunity, in private and in public, which I could not even imagine another level of the royal bitch that she was now. I'm also a fake liar. What the hell is Bob? She said, clearly annoyed. Oh yes, my dear Alice. You really were a fake, but I don't think you did it on purpose, I said, which felt like a slap in the face. You really created a look that suited me perfectly. I believe you did this subconsciously to distract me from her for your sake, and you succeeded. You gave me such an incredibly perfect match that I couldn't. I was powerless, which meant that I was even less than zero than I was before. Helen, to her immense credit, tried to explain this to me even then. In a vain attempt to save our wedding, she said, I know that I am. I'm not perfect. I know she seems perfect to you. I see it. I see the way you look at her. But I have to tell you, something like a woman to a blind man whom I love, and who once reciprocated my feelings. What you see in me is the real me, imperfect, but the real Helen. What you see in her is not real. What you see has nothing to do with what she really is. You live in a cloud, Bob. You will regret this for the rest of your life. Not today, but someday. Please don't destroy us over something unreal, she said, begging me to stay. Yes, she spoke badly of me, but the truth is that I was nothing more than a very immature young man back then. Stupid boy. However, she tried to reason with me, even knowing that it would be in vain, and she really begged me to stay, but I left her and married you, of course, because she was absolutely right. I lived in a cloud. About everything. We could talk for hours about any topic and could communicate on a level that I had never experienced before. And it included sex, intimacy, humor. Hell, it was all similar to telepathy. I have never felt such an instant connection between the brains on all levels before. Oh, I'm so sorry, my poor Bob. I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. In fact, I'm very, very sorry for trying to be the perfect woman for you. Do you even understand how pathetic you are whining about how was I perfect for you? She said with a slight disgust in her voice. This is a new level of pity. Oh, don't get me started, Alice. If this were true about us, I wouldn't complain. I would cherish this happiness, this bliss, and take it with me to the grave, dying a happy, smiling man. However, when we got married, and you got pregnant, and we had twins, that's when everything changed. I instantly became a pariah in my own home almost overnight. All the previous instant connections were broken. In fact, the complete opposite of what it was before. No connection. In no way. A completely different Alice in every way, belittling me as a man, as a person, as, like everything, at every opportunity, even going so far as to undermine the most sacred thing, my relationship with my children. She just looked at me with her eyes wide open. It may have been a surprise to her, but it was well prepared for me, and I was far from finished. Of course, the comment about children was bait that she fell for hook, line, and sinker. What? How can you say that, Bob? I never said anything bad about you to the children. I always set you as an example to them, exclaimed Alice, clearly very annoyed. Nonsense, Alice. Your words were indeed what you said, but your actions were completely the opposite. It was as if you were the boss making all the decisions, and I was a second-class parent in my own home. Even now, when they are in college, how many times do they call you, and how many times do they call me? You constantly if you need money, so it's my fault that I have a better relationship with our children than you. Are you crazy, Bob? She screamed back. In fact, dear wife, in this case, yes, you are to blame. Again, partially, unfortunately for me. You are the one who always, when I wanted to do something with them, said not now, Dad, we have other plans. Or I don't think this is suitable for our children, or such nonsense every time. And for the sake of maintaining peace, I swallowed it, again and again, every time. We were actually doing what I suggested, and you rejected it. I brought it up. You rejected it in front of the kids, saying it might work for those kids, but not for mine. And that was the end of it. Time and activities with my own children. And this became a pattern. You literally molded them according to your own wishes. Over the years, I became just a source of money for them, while you molded them according to your requirements. But you are to blame. First of all, I am to blame here. Do you know why? For putting up with your antics, for allowing you to control everything at your own discretion, and turning yourself into a spectator of your destruction of me as a parent. That's why. She just looked at me with wide eyes, her mouth open, probably short-circuited. What a spineless jerk I've been all this time. A pathetic excuse for a man. No wonder you're unhappy. I haven't been a man since we got married. I let you take my manhood away. What a pathetic loser I am. She came to her senses a little. I think it's very unfair to use the children against me in all of this, and all these terrible things you say about me, Bob. You're portraying me as some kind of then the supervillain from hell who decided to destroy you. How can you say that after 20 years of living together as a family? She asked the floor, tearing up. Everything is connected, Alice, on my part. I was a second-class citizen in my own home, both as a parent and as a husband. Was blown up as father, not satisfied as a life partner, deprived of all the things that could give me happiness. I'm not even talking about love, sex, and all that. No, forget it. Even just basic intimacy, the most basic acts of affection. Nothing, damn it, Alice. And you are unhappy. Of course you will. With the spineless idiot of the century who lost his courage because of your whims, how could you ever be happy? It's funny that by depriving me of my masculinity, you ended up depriving yourself of the man in your home and ended up killing your own happiness. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Literally, you made yourself a victim. Ha ha ha, how funny. It's a pity, of course, but funny in a perverted sense. How can you say such terrible things? She asked half tearfully. If I was so terrible, why did you stay with me all these years? Because I loved you. No, forget it. I loved that girl you introduced to me. You mean that siren, unethical piece of trash, princess of evil, con woman who stole men? She asked defiantly. Yes, the same one, except for the part about the scammer. If she were real, she would be my ideal match. She would be my absolute ideal. I hoped that she, the girl I fell in love with, was my ideal soulmate and would not turn out to be a deceiver, and someday she would return to me. I waited patiently for her for 20 years. Why else do you think I endured all your antics? And to be absolutely clear, she is not you. You are not she. You are someone else, the one with whom I did not sign up to live for 20 years. She was exactly the one, and you were not the one at all. But I was so spineless that I actually lived with you instead of her, waiting in vain, that she would take your place and warm my life again. But of course, she was just a facade. This is the real you, what I sacrificed everything for. What a stupid, spineless piece of shit I was. I am completely disgusted with myself. No wonder you're unhappy. I'm a pathetic excuse for a man, I said. She looked down again, silent. Obviously, this was unexpected for her. She was probably planning to somehow make me the bad guy here, but I took it all and turned it against her, and in a big way. I didn't expect this, did I, my dear loving wife? If I'm as worthless as you say, why didn't you just throw me out when you found out it was all a hoax, as you say? She asked with some impudence. I am a decent person, Alice. My love amounts to a commitment to our marriage, to us. I am committed to doing everything in my power to give you a good, comfortable, happy, and fulfilling life, as best the masculine version of me will allow. I tried my best to make sure you were free and not limited in your activities. You tried a million different things before you finally settled on charity, and I supported you in each and every one of them. And I took care of the children. Everything else. And did I complain at least once? No, I didn't. Silence. And now you're throwing it in my face that you're miserable. After 20 damn years of endurance, after everything I've done to ensure you have as little trouble as possible, while I was the one who got the short straw in almost everything. But he continued anyway, I really understand, Alice. At least your life was without problems. She looked depressed. I understand that having no problems doesn't equal happiness, but that is better than having no problems, right? Or not? I asked rhetorically. I already knew the answer to this question. Thank God for my preparation. Anyway, now that all this has come out, please tell me what exactly makes you unhappy, Alice. I have a morbid curiosity to know. She did look alarming, to say the least. She was silent for a while, as if trying to find the words to say what she wanted to say. I tried to tell you already. Nothing in my life makes me happy anymore. I'm just walking on the beaten track. Really? So all of this is a lie you've created? All the parties you throw for your friends? All the bachelorette parties you always have? All the fundraisers you hold for charity? All the housework and cooking, which you never do, because I pay for the servants out of my own pocket, even though you are the one who doesn't want to do it, because they make you feel like a slave at home, as you said, all the home modifications and decorations and everything else. What? You wanted it, and I paid for it. Your car, which you chose at your own request, and I paid for, does all this, created especially for you, make you unhappy? Well, if that's the case, is it golden? A cage that you built for yourself and locked yourself in. You made me a slave to build it for you, and now it makes you unhappy. Silence. You make me feel guilty for the way I feel, Bob. You've turned me from a fake, an evil, a vain, a conniving, betraying princess of evil into a now infantile, spoiled child, and a disoriented woman drowned in her vanity. At least do me a favor and decide who I am, she said, clearly upset. I'm just stating the facts, Alice. Is there anything I just said that isn't 100% true? Did I lie or exaggerate anything? Anything I mentioned that you didn't mean, and I delivered without asking questions? Was I lying or exaggerating here? Silence again. That's what I thought. So we both agree that what we have is essentially made just for you and paid for entirely by me. So I'm still waiting for you to tell me what makes you unhappy. So far, your life seems to be focused only on you. So what part of your life, centered on Alice, is making you unhappy? I said, with obvious sarcasm. Well rehearsed, too. If this continues like this, I've heard enough. I refuse to continue this conversation. I'm sick and tired of being accused of all the sins, plus the fact that I'm tantamount to an immature, selfish child. You're not a saint yourself, Bob, so stop it, teach me, she said in complete despair. Really, Alice? What unholy did I do to you? As for you, a saint is at least an accurate description of who I was, especially considering how you treated me. Not just any saint. Damn jobs straight out of the holy books. And if that's not the case, I defy you to tell me what I've ever done that doesn't fit that description. You smug bastard, she snapped at me, seething with rage. I saw the rage in her eyes, and it was very painful. She really wanted to make some kind of line, I could see it. She was trying to find something to throw in my face. The sad truth is that I treated her like a queen, and this was probably my death. The silence is deafening, my dear wife. You cannot find a single thing I have done to humiliate you or make you feel less like a queen in our home. You have been groomed from head to toe for everything you have ever wanted to. I made it my life's goal to make you happy, even if I wasn't happy, and there is a very good reason for this. Do you know why? I suppose not, but I feel that I will now be enlightened, she said with mockery and challenge. Because I loved you, at least the version of you that I met, and remnants of that permeated my entire life with you. And I hoped for her return, and because I swore to do so, and because your father asked me about this, he never threatened me with cruel death if I hurt you, like most fathers. He simply told me, Alice and Ariana are all I have. Ariana married a scumbag. I'm probably where. I made a mistake as a parent. If you don't turn out to be another bastard, then I'll know I did at least something right, he told me. He died just a few months later, and I decided to make him smile in heaven. He was a great man, a truly great man. Unlike me, an absolute zero. At least I met a real man in my life, even if it was your father. Alice was gloomy. So after all this, my dear loving wife, I'm still waiting for you to tell me what makes you unhappy. Clearly pissed off, depressed, angry, upset all in one, she hesitated a little. Well, since you're Mr. Beth's perfect, and since I have no excuse for my feelings that the almighty saint you don't approve of, I think I'll stop this farce of conversation now. You're making me look like a fake, evil, vain, conniving, betraying a spoiled princess, and that is in no way acceptable, especially for a conversation between adults. I won't allow myself to be humiliated like this. What you are and what you are not has no bearing on this conversation, Alice. What does this mean now? She screamed. It means exactly what I said. Who you are is not part of this conversation, at least not yet. Just what you feel. You feel unhappy. That in itself does not make you something. In the end, you have the right to feel whatever you want. What makes you someone is what you do with what you feel. And that, my dear wife, remains to be seen. One more time, for the last damn time, what the hell is making you unhappy? Tell me, for God's sake, I screamed at her. You make me unhappy. You and your holiness, your self-righteousness, your everything. You make me unhappy, she screamed. Another deafening silence. All these years I had no purpose in life. Everything was about you. Your career, your friends, you. It's like I have no other reason to exist other than to be part of Mr. Bob's universe. I'm sick of everything. What the hell are you talking about, Alice? You were free to do whatever you wanted. I never told you to do anything. You never accompanied me to professional meetings, which, by the way, all the significant others from the company did. You were the only one who didn't. It all bored you to death, as you said, and I accepted it. I always found something to justify your absence, however, at your professional meetings and your damn charity events and whatever. No matter what, if you wanted me to be there, I was there. It was the other way around, Alice. I was just a decoration in your universe, not you in mine. I said as calmly as I could. I thank all the gods for my preparation. Fuck you, Bob, you smug bastard, she screamed at me. Yes, Alice, you're right. Fuck me, a narcissistic bastard who never cared about his wife's needs. How right you are. Fuck that stupid fucking idiot. Yes, Alice, fuck stupid old me, I said. Answer. Well, she clearly expected to have the upper hand in this, but so far she hasn't had success. Look, Bob, this is going nowhere. You're too narcissistic to even try to understand my point of view. This whole conversation is pointless, she said. In fact, it's the other way around. Repeatedly, over and over again, asked to explain to you what makes you unhappy. You give some very weak excuses, I refute them, and then you accuse me of being narcissistic and the source of your unhappiness. The truth is that logic doesn't agree with what you're saying, and neither does our history. And just throwing around feelings that by definition shouldn't follow any logic or history, as if I don't have feelings of my own, as if you have the exclusive right to feelings in this house. Well, it really insults my intelligence, I told her. Anyway, I continued, you have a fundamental right to feel whatever you want, even if it's all logically and historically indefensible and essentially all in your head. Still, it's your right to feel whatever you want. So, I'm making you miserable because I'm narcissistic and it's all bullshit, and it's insulting to my completely selfless and absolute devotion to you. But still, if that's what you feel, that's what you feel. What you feel. The mind will probably achieve nothing in your case, as it has not done in the last 20 years. There is no reason to suspect that it will now. So, given that you feel unhappy, What do you want to do about it? Silence. Look down again. Here it is. I think we need some space between us for a while, she said almost in a whisper. Distances? What do you mean? I mean, maybe I should, take a little break, maybe not live together for a while, put a little distance between us, just to see where this is going. I need to sort out my feelings. So you want us to break up? N. For a short time. Why, yes, that's what I meant. I meant? F. I bet. I mean, I see. Do you want to separate, like in a divorce? No, I wasn't talking about divorce. I just need a little space and time to find myself. I feel lost and confused. I need to understand myself. Oh, I see. I pretended to think it over and continued. Okay, if that's what you want, then so be it. She didn't expect this. Her eyes opened wide. I continued. If you want to break up, we'll break up. You can leave at any time. Her look was priceless, complete surprise. Before you go, I continued, we will need to sign a formal separation agreement. After all. What are you talking about? She interrupted, completely stunned. Should I leave my home? In fact, you are leaving my house, Alice. It was bought with my money, it is in my name, and until we are officially divorced, it is still mine. So yes, you are leaving my house after. How you will sign a formal separation agreement with me, in which we both will specify the exact terms of the separation, which, if either of us violates, we will head straight for divorce, with cause depending on the specific type of violation. I don't know what to say, she said, truly surprised. What the hell, Alice? Do you think that I will be your eternal savior, your saint, your guardian angel, your fool for life? Living apart means that we are not living together. Not living together plus the fact that this house mine, and I refuse to tolerate your whims, means that you pack up your things and leave this house. When you leave this house, you take your life into your own hands, subject to the provisions of a mutually agreed upon separation agreement, if there is one. If you agree to such an agreement and terms, we will maintain minimal contact for a pre-agreed time, provided, of course, that we both adhere to the mutually agreed terms. If either of us deviates, it is straight to court. No further contact. Sharks. If we both behave ourselves, then we'll see where we are once the separation is over. Silence. Do you hate me that much? She muttered, almost ready to cry. Stop this idiotic farce, Alice. This is not working. This is what you asked for. You want to go out, I'm giving you a way out. However, I will not leave my house, so if you want to go out, come out. So, what will you choose? Will you stay or leave? And if you leave, separation or divorce? Silence. I need to think about this. I have a lot to think about, she said, seeming a little lost. In fact, my dear Alice, you don't have much time, I said, rather decisively. What do you mean? She asked. You don't have much time to think. It's simple, stay or leave, and if you leave, separation or divorce. You think this is even a choice? I can't believe it, she said. Actually, it's very much a choice. I understand that it should have been different in your head. I should have been a fool again and just left when you told me. For you to find yourself in the comfort of my own home, doing God knows what with God knows who, while I spent my days and nights in a motel or worse, waiting for you to decide if you found yourself and want me back, or for you to tell me to get lost otherwise. Slave to your whim. Isn't that what you had in your head, dear Alice? I asked with a good dose of venom in my voice. You're accusing me of cheating now? How dare you? Cried a completely surprised Alice. Oh, stop it, Alice. Stop the theatrics. Yeah, if you want to find yourself and all that bullshit, you probably just want to have sex left and right, try something new, like some of your girlfriends did a lot of the time, while their idiot husbands were waiting for them. You probably wanted to do all this, see what you missed all these years, and in the comfort of my home, at the expense of the idiot of the century, good old me. Either return to me with repentance for all the inconveniences caused, or with another piece of meat. Well, I won't have that for you. Do I have the right to know if we are heading towards separation or heading towards divorce? At least I have the right to know. Yes, the preparation worked. She was truly shocked by all of this. Things didn't go as she planned. I need to think about all this. Can you give me some time? She asked. You threw that tone of crap in my face, and now you want time? I said and started laughing. She seemed shocked. Tomorrow at lunchtime, I announced. That's all the time you have. Make sure you think it through, because after this, I'll make decisions for both of us. She just stood there, looking at me with her eyes wide open and her mouth agape. I got up and headed to the bedroom. I took her personal belongings along with the pillow, sheets, and everything, put them on the table outside the room, went back in and locked the door. I heard her steps. She hesitated at the door, but she was smart enough not to create a conflict. She simply took her things and went to the guest room. I was sure she would be on the phone for a long time that night. I, on the contrary, did not do this. The only thing I did before falling asleep was send one SMS. We have begun, it said. As soon as I read the OK response, I deleted it, turned off the phone, and went to sleep. My sleep that night was completely miserable. I was so emotionally drained from the whole confrontation with Alice that as soon as I went to bed, I passed out. I woke up the next morning to a very quiet house, eerily quiet. I got up, performed my usual morning ritual, and left the bedroom. She was nowhere to be seen, but the sound of the TV was coming from the guest room, which meant she would be there, at least for a while. For my part, I just did what I usually do on a Saturday morning, went to the basement to work out, then went to my room to read a book, catch up on the latest news, and wait until noon. Since I did not hear any sounds from the kitchen, I realized that she was not going to cook. We shared responsibilities, and my cooking was clearly better than hers, by the way, so I realized that I had to be the cook of the day. I went into the kitchen and prepared what would probably be a very unique lunch, and not because of the food, of course. The food itself was okay lentil soup, one of my favorites, and I can say that I know how to make delicious lentil soups. I learned from the master, my mother, who was a true genius in the kitchen. But the uniqueness of the dinner had to do with the circumstances, not my cooking. At 12:55, I called her in for lunch, as I usually do when I'm the designated cook, and set the table. She reluctantly appeared a little later, greeted me, thanked me for cooking, and sat down at the table to start eating with me. I can say that my lentil soup was great, and it's true. It had everything you needed for the perfect soup: garlic, onions, tomatoes, olive oil, a little oregano, 2 types of peppers, ginger, an assortment of spices, salt, everything you needed. The perfect lentil soup. But I didn't hear a single word of praise from her. Not a single word. She simply ate with a gloomy face. What ingratitude. After we ate in silence, I cleared the table. She just sat there, passive, with a face of defeat, even resignation. How different this face was from yesterday, when she told me with determination to sit down at the table before I had time to get ready after returning home. When I finished, I sat down opposite her and just watched. She felt awkward, I could see it. Finally, she spoke. Bob. Yes? I was thinking about those things that we discussed yesterday, you know. Of course I know. Well, I made a decision. Okay, I said, waiting, like a half question. Yes, Alice. Think that Come on, Alice, it can't be that hard. Just say it, I said, half laughing. I will give this, our marriage, one more chance, I think, she said, stuttering and looking anywhere but at me. So let me get this straight, I said. Will you give our marriage another chance? Is that what you say? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I see, I said. I showed no emotion. He was just silent. She was becoming more nervous by the second. Well, she half asked. Well, Well, what do you think? She asked. You're asking me what I think? About you wanting to give our marriage another chance, you mean? Yeah. Well, I have a lot of remaining questions. Like, does this mean the whole separation talk is off the table? Yes, sure. So, you decided not to be separated from me and continue our life? Yes, that's what I said. I see, I said. Then I looked her straight in the eyes and very calmly asked the question that I knew would explode our destiny. Does George know about your decision? The silence that overtook the room was equivalent to 1,000 hydrogen bombs. She opened her eyes wide, and all the color drained from her face. She just looked at me, unable to speak. Hesitantly, she gathered herself enough to be able to function on a basic level. D. George, who? Oh, please, Alice, don't underestimate my intelligence to this level. It's simple, simple. I said, gritting my teeth. My blood pressure was starting to go through the roof. Then I exploded. We both know which George we're talking about, Alice. George Mason. George Bloody Mason, that's who. George Bloody, who's sleeping with my wife Mason. Mason, that's who. What? Damn it. Damn it. You. Damn it. Woman of easy virtue, I screamed, beyond all reason. I growled at her, and she just looked at me, unable to speak, move, do anything. No reaction. I gathered myself internally to continue. You thought I was that stupid, that I wouldn't recognize it? I asked. She just looked at me without further reaction. I asked you a damn question. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Silence. Answer me, damn it, answer me. Or, I swear to God. I screamed at her with my mouth clamped shut, all the veins popping out of my neck and head. I had to look like I was ready to either have a stroke or decapitate her with my bare hands. I have no doubt that I could have done it at that moment. I didn't think you'd find out, she said as quickly as possible, clearly fearing for her life. Her answer relieved me a little. She really thought I was that stupid. She really thought. We had been married for 20 years, and she thought I was so stupid that I would never know that she would cheat on me. She really thought I was that stupid. It was so sad. One of the saddest moments of my life. Not only because of the betrayal itself, but also because of her such a low opinion of me. I knew she was cheating at a very early stage. I followed her and already knew a few facts. When I hired a private investigator for a lot of money, I got the whole story, which was surprisingly unsurprising. George Mason was a womanizer who preyed on married women, and one of his conquests was my wife. She was obviously completely bored by the fool of the house that was me, and was the perfect target for this son of a bitch who was simply feeding her vanity with lies, inflating her feminine ego. She played the role of hard to reach with me, but she did everything with him, voluntarily. I knew everything because my man recorded everything on video, audio, and transcripts. I saw everything, heard everything, read everything. I knew what she was telling him, how she didn't even defend my name when he scolded me, although we both know that I'm twice as good as him. How ironic. And of course, there was talk about how she would break up with me and spend several weeks alone with him in this house in my bed. I knew it as soon as she said it. Live. They were expensive, but they delivered. She couldn't look me in the eye. She just looked down, very pale, trembling slightly. You can't imagine how painful all of this has been for me. I bet it will be just as hard for his wife. In fact, right now as we speak, Fran Mason, that bastard's poor wife is probably finished going through all the stuff I sent her. If my information means anything, she'll probably throw him out on the street, and rightfully so. Her eyes widened as soon as I said those words. Right at that moment, her phone rang. And he's probably trying to talk to you to find out what the hell happened. I can honestly tell you that it's not in your best interest to talk to him. If I were you, I'd miss that call, said me looking into her eyes. My position left no questions. She didn't even answer the phone. The phone stopped ringing. Complete silence in the room. Yesterday, I told you to make a decision, because after lunch, I will make decisions for both of us. Well, dear wife, I will keep my promise. WH, what do you mean? I said, dialing the preset number on my phone, letting it ring once, and then stopping the ringing. I'll do as I said. It's 1 hour and 45 minutes, so it's after lunch, and I'll make decisions for both of us. The doorbell rang. Open the door, Alice. This is for you. Who is this? She asked. Open the door, and you will find out. She reluctantly went to the door and opened it. There stood a pretty girl with a shoulder bag, chewing gum, holding a pen and paper for signatures. Are you Miss Alice Jones? Why, yes, that's my name. Please sign here. What is this? She asked. The girl didn't answer. She simply handed her a pen, chewing her gum, looking at her half bored and half expectantly for her to sign so she could leave. Alice signed, and the girl took the pen and signed paper, then opened her bag, took out a manila envelope, and handed it to her. It's been handed to you, she said, handed her the envelope and left. She closed the door as if in a trance. She was shaking. Bob W. What is this? She asked, ready to faint. A little parting gift for my dear loving wife. Yesterday you wanted a separation, but you changed your mind today because you realized that I don't fall for your bullshit. Today I want a divorce. There will be no change of heart this time, and you can rely on this. I'll keep the house and pay you your share of the money. I'm leaving this house for a week to give you time to pack your things and figure out what you want to do and how. Divorce? She asked, collapsing onto the couch, ready to start crying. Yes, Alice. Divorce? I'm fair. I don't ask for anything. Our children are in college. I took care of their education. I don't demand anything from you. I just want to get this over with. I want to start my life over again. I want to spend the rest of my days living, and not like this. And I'm afraid that this is only possible away from you. By the way, I'm fair and generous, but please don't try to do something stupid. I'll completely destroy you. That awaits you if you decide to do something stupid. You will accept my terms, and that will be the end of it. No questions asked. She started to speak, and then lost her composure. She began to cry, sobbing non-stop. I approached her. I hugged her one last time and said, I'm really sorry too. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. But it just wasn't meant to be. I'm really, really sorry. I really am, I said, trying to calm her down. She just hugged me like a boa constrictor, not allowing me to breathe. I slowly freed myself from her, went to our room, took a suitcase, filled it with the most necessary things and clothes for the week, closed it, and headed out. She cried, sobbed. She couldn't say a word. There was no point. She understood, but still, it was too much. I wish you a good life, Alice, I said, and left the house and married. Helen, I wish you all the best. I was never good enough for you. I hope you got what you deserve. I wish you a good life. You deserve it. I stained our lives, and I deserve everything I got. You are not. You're better than me. I don't deserve a second chance with you. I'm toxic. You deserve better. I'm not the one you need. I wish you a good life. For me, it's now an uphill battle. I hope I can handle it. Who knows? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Whether this will kill me or whether I will survive, time will tell. Good night, and good luck. I'll need it.